Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Martinez, and I'd like to thank you guys for coming and welcome you to our story. So, I see a lot of familiar faces here, but I always like to give our little spiel. Pretty much, this is our little baby. This is our story. Our story is a club that strives to create a platform where students share personal stories and get inspired. Is the birth child of Mr. Peter Olisa back there, and pretty much what we do here is try to provide an open platform for students to come in and pretty much talk about what they've been through. I know today we have a special event specifically talking about racism, but we've had events in the past talking about sexuality, talking about what it's like to be a college student, just all the stuff that goes along with that, the difficulties. Pretty much our end goal at the end of the day is to have that open platform so people who come and speak grow from speaking and talking about their experiences, but also us as a crowd who hear other people's struggles and what they've been through. Kind of gives you a sense of empowerment. Just wow, this is the kind of stuff I've been through. This maybe it's similar to what you're going through, or maybe you can just take their strength and use it in a different light in your own life. So give me a slide. If you dig what we do today, if you're interested in us after the show or whatever. You guys can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail. We also have a website, ourstorynevada.org. Pretty much, we post all of the events on our YouTube channel and then to our social media sites. If you guys want to rewatch anything, you guys want to watch things that you might have missed in the past or in the future, check us out. And yeah, at the end of the day, we'll have a little. At the end of the night, we'll have a little question and answer session. So we ask that you hold your questions for them, just to not distract the speakers. We'll have a couple different ways to ask questions. Next slide. As far as just little guidelines, pretty simple. Just be as respectful. We like to make this as open of a platform and as casual as it can be, but nevertheless, we want to keep that professionalism. Please respect the speakers. Please don't try to distract them. If you need to get up, go to the bathroom, do whatever. That's chill. We just ask that you keep motion and sound to a minimum. Also, you're more than encouraged to take videos, take pictures, so on and so forth. We just ask that just be respectful about it. Okay, so that is our story, and now I would like to bring up Mr. Peter Olisa to talk about today's special event. Woo!
Sweet. Well, hello everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? Good? Good? That's good. Well, welcome to Our Story. Mark has said a lot about Our Story, but I want to welcome you to our very, very special event. For this event, we are partnering with BSO, the Black Student Organization. So members of BSO, can you just rise up? And let's go ahead and appreciate them. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Well, welcome to Our Story. This is a special event. Today we're going to be talking about racism. It's really interesting how the events of last week just kind of fell into place, and we just had an event coincidentally with what has been happening. So I think today's event is going to be special in the sense that we're going to be diving in to a lot of controversial topics. So get ready. It's going to get crazy, okay? Okay. I am so excited that you're here, and with great joy and pleasure in my heart, I'd like to welcome our first speaker for today. He's no other person than Bob.
Hi, how you guys doing? Good. My name is Malavi Meyer, and I'm a junior here on campus. And I like to talk to you guys about my experience with racism here on campus. But first, I would like to, if you guys would allow me to explain what molded me into my reactions towards racism. So, when I first started high school, I went to a predominantly black school. The school was named Cheyenne High School. Now, those of you from Las Vegas know exactly what I mean. Now, going from that school was predominantly black, Mexican, lots of minorities, I felt at home. I could go to somebody, I could talk about the same things, and everybody would understand me. Now, at one point, I had to change. I said, the school's not necessarily for me. I'm not having the kind of likes I want for my education. I don't like this for sports. So I made a grown man decision. I said, I'm going to move schools. But in that decision, I knew that I was going to go to a school without as many people just like me. So I went to a school called Shadow Ridge High School. It was 80% white. And I showed up on campus and I thought, you know, I'm a likable person. You know, people will get to know me. People will understand the real me. It's not necessarily the case when the first thing you see is my race. So I walk on campus, I'm playing basketball, and all of a sudden, a kid is not liking my aggression on the court. He does not like the fact that I'm bigger, I am stronger, I am faster than him. So he directly turns to race and starts calling me the N-word. I did not talk to this kid. I still do not know this kid's name. I'm pretty sure he still does not know mine. But the only thing that he saw was my race in that moment. And at that time, I wanted to fight him. I wanted to fight him so bad. And I had people holding me back. This is my first day at school. This is my first day at the new school. This kid's already calling me an N-word. What did I do to this kid? Nothing. I didn't do anything to this kid. So for the next 3 days, this kid kept going at me, calling me the N-word every day for the next 3 days. I told teachers, people, help me, do something. I'm going to choke the life out of this kid. Somebody come get this kid. But it never did. And from that experience, I realized that some people will not help you. You have to help yourself. But when you do have to help yourself, you have to put yourself in a position to not be the mad black guy. You have to show people that, hey, I've taken all the steps needed in order to prevent this from happening. Now, from that experience, I took that on with me to college. And I said I wasn't going to let somebody call me a name, and I was going to let it affect me. Now, mind you, I've been called the N-word many other times since my sophomore year in high school. But I said, I'm a grown man, I'm going to deal with this the best way I possibly can. And so I had started my career at the school on the football team. I said, this is a place I can call home. Lots of black athletes, you know, I can get along with most of any crowd. You know, this is good, this is a nice home. But there's always one bad apple in the bunch. There's always one. One guy, he would call me all discernible names that weren't necessarily warranted at all. And I felt like I'm a man, I can handle this myself. So I took it upon myself to not go to my coaches and tell somebody, hey man, this man's picking on me. I'm a grown man. I can't tell people that this man's picking on me. I gotta deal with it myself. Calls me the B word, called me faggot, if anybody is against that word. And I took offense to it. And I didn't tell anybody. The only person I told was that man. And on the last day of our spring practice, he got to me. He called me all the names that he had previously called me. But there was a big difference. He added in the N-word. That one word, for some reason, it took me back again to when I was a sophomore in high school, to where I wanted to choke the life out of this man. And you know what? I pushed it back to the back of my mind and said, finish practice. Come on, man, finish practice. Come on, finish this last run. I couldn't even run. I had to stay after practice because I couldn't finish the run. And as I'm standing there on the line, ready to do my extra duties, man walks behind me, says, good luck being a loser forever, bitch. And I lost it. I lost myself for that one moment, and I hit him. And granted, he had put his hands on me first. He had called me all these names. I didn't say anything to the man. But because I hit him, and everybody saw it, I was a mad black man. And they took me out of football, the sport I love. Now, granted, they've asked me to come back, which I'm very happy and pleased. But for myself to have to stand up and tell my coach, hey man, the coach, he called me N-word, he called me this, he called me that. And they say, nobody else told you that. Nobody else told me that. It's just coming from you. My point on this is, if you are experiencing something, racism, some form of bigotry toward yourself, and you feel like it's not right, tell somebody. Take all the steps before you go to the violence. Make sure that you have your friends around you at all times so that they can attest and say, yes, this did happen. And I just want to say it's made me a better man today. That now I can go to these people who have problems with a man named Peter, can't pronounce his last name. Can't pronounce his last name. And people come up to me and say, hey, I saw him, it's making me upset. It's making me upset. I see people physically upset come up to me. I tell you, remember your morals, stick to them. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got. Thank you.
Come on, let's give it up. Sweet. Okay, moving on to the next item on the list. We have a special performance by the one and only Lionel King. Come on, give it up. Hey.
So yeah, my name is Lionel, and I'm going to perform, it's a sort of a portmanteau of a rap song and a spoken word piece, and it's pretty much inspired by James Baldwin's words when he said, to be black and conscious in America is to be in a constant state of rage. That's pretty much the inspiration behind both the pieces. So I hope you like it.
I might have to test a little. Let me know if it sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, there's an ad. Sorry.
Yeah, it's on the instrumental on YouTube, so that's my hope.
Like there?
Blah. Can you guys hear me in the beat properly? Awesome. Okay. That's cool. Never to forget what I saw. It's like seeing Saw twice could never suffice. Couldn't imagine what it was that had severed that life. With an intent or unintentional, I wish if I could take that day back, I'd pay back whatever the price. I've never seen nobody sit headless, never thought the sight of another man would ever make me spit breakfast. Eggs and bacon on the seat headrest. I asked the author of the book of life if only I had pre-read this. My speech breathless when I saw his body bleach redness, stripped on his Nike socks to see death is never pretty. Who I thought were the parents apparently appalled, paralyzed by the puddle with the paramedics acting iffy. Trying to get the lady on the scene to stop crying. Could hear the teardrops over all the cop sirens. So you could sympathize with both sides when you want it back, but it's hard to get a severed head to stop dying. Sounds like a plot writing, end scene, open act 2, but when it happened, even I was simply hoping that. But nobody's smiling in this morning sun. When you get killed for trying to take a morning run. It's been on my mind for a minute, a little more now. You go to sleep, acting that you manage to snore. How in the state of the world is me heavy hearted. I feel it in every part, it's my psyche and soul and mind at the target. Talking within myself to still harness a bit of hell. Half soul, and the second part spreading it in this hell we call earth. Heaven guide me and guard me, stretch and find me an army. This is a battle I can't fight alone. Frontline with prayer in the battle of gun violence. The sun's rising to me, hanging on. Unwinding the thread of hope and security blankets. The lack of surety happens. That's when I feel making better worlds is in action. Laying idle is useless. I spend my time searching for peace and really what truth is. I used to think that maybe I find it up on the mountain. Astounded that I was grounded and searching for the remains and volumes of huge conclusions. But waiting where we are soldiered on with the soldered arm. I hosted harming hopes of bringing peace for the bogus charm. My excuse is trying everything to find it, but with every falling slip I'm just reminded. So, the video's auto-play on my Twitter. In fact, I just turned it back on the other day. So I woke up around my way, prayed, and felt like a good day, I would say, until scrolling my timeline in a brief moment to unwind, this video starts. The hideous part, I just saw a black woman get falsely accused, slammed down and choked for apparently sticking $2 eyelashes. Within a split second, my mind flashes with no hesitation to 2014 Eric Gardner. And before that thought could barely harbor, another wave of emotion hits as she hits the floor. As the surviving part of my psyche drifts to shore, I wipe my eyes right to try to read the facts. She didn't steal any eyelashes, and of course, they found out by invading her belongings in personal space. To worsen the case, this was all before she decided to leave, was physically detained and hurt in the face. It had to be you, the male store owner, who claimed as he choked her in an underarm that could get you an underarm sponsorship. The wife helped the dear husband to slam this black body on the ground, and that's when my soul fractured. Her on the ground, fighting a grown man. You're choking me, the closed caption of this call captured. Now I remember why I turned off the autoplay on my Twitter. In fact, when? Sandra Bland. To be black and to be a woman in this world is to carry the burden of being the most beautiful but hated thing. And I won't ask you to imagine if Sandra Bland, Rakia Boyd, or the missing Walker or wrong girls were your mom, your sister, your girlfriend. That might get the point across to some of you, but it still perpetuates this idea that only when it concerns me is when the world ends. Humanity doesn't need relation to be valid. Humanity doesn't come in varying degrees based on your skin. For surely you're not human if you only see it in your complexion and next of kin. And I thank God for peace of mind, because I could never rest within in a world where just wanting to use Twitter with one hand reminds me of value women way less than men. Respect black women, protect black women. Thank you.
Come on, guys, let's give it up one more time. Okay. Just because we're running out of space, I'd like for us to fill the seats over here, if you guys don't mind, just having some people move, so we can have space at the door. It's perfectly fine. We're just gonna come in. Sweet. Let's give it up for Ryan one more time. Come on. Okay. On to the next person. He's a very, very dear friend of mine. I met him. Tristan is one of the most inspiring, figure I have in my life right now. What he strives for is just amazing. His whole life, his academic life, his social involvement and stuff it's just inspiring to me, because at a point I was very timid, and just seeing my very good friend Tris, do extraordinary things, it just really got to me and inspired me. And without much talking, I'd like to, invite to the stage the one and only yours truly, Tristan Shaw.
Hello. How y'all doing? Okay, so. So today we're talking about racism.
And I really want to make this as interactive as possible. So I want to have a little dialogue. So if I'm asking questions, feel free to shout some answers out. Yeah, this is supposed to be more of an educational opportunity than anything. So I guess the first thing I wanted to move into is defining what racism actually is. There's this common misconception that racism is this prejudice, and that's not always the case. Those prejudices usually refer to so prejudice usually is thought of as those personal health beliefs, those preconceived notions that people hold toward a group or a person based on their identity. But that does not capture all that racism is. Racism, defined by Adams, is a pattern or a set of patterns and practices influenced by not only those personal held beliefs, those prejudice, but institutions and culture as well. And then those are used to disadvantage those who are deemed not white by the American power structure. So when someone says that you cannot be racist towards white people, they are in fact correct. Because racism, at its heart, at its soul, highlights those institutions and cultures that back that racism. You can have that prejudice. No one takes that away. How you treat an individual based on their identity, you shouldn't be able to discriminate against them because of that, but that does not make it racism. So I just wanted to clear the air before we move forward. We need a solid definition of what racism is. So through racism, race came to be. It's this socio-political construct. Race was used to justify the institution of slavery as well as the genocide of the indigenous people. So through this race, people could kind of write off people that were not white because, of course, they were either savages. We're in CH right now. We're hearing about how the Indians were the natives, actually. They were named the Indians, but the natives, they were deemed noble savages. And then blacks were deemed as just savages, unfit for this culture, this new opportunity, this new world. They needed to be subjugated. So there's also this misconception that racism has to be this outright bigotry, this I hate you, get out of my country, KKK mentality, but it's not. We now see that racism has this new face, it has this mask, and it makes it so much harder to really point it out, but you always feel it. If you're in this room and you felt that racism, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint, that's what we're talking about. It's those microaggressions. So what are microaggressions? We hear this word being thrown around a lot, whether it be on Twitter or just like in real life. But microaggressions are defined as like those subtle, intentional or unintentional comments that just demean. It's that subtle shade that it just doesn't really feel right. Those are those microaggressions. It's that Get Out type of racism. I don't know if y'all seen the movie that just came out, but Get Out explains those microaggressions at the perfect, it describes it as perfect as it could. It shows how it's so subtle, but it's just as dangerous. It has the same result. In all honesty, if you are unsure about that, we can take a look at plenty of cases, whether it be Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray. Those are all microaggressions. They were never that blatant, like, I hate you racism. And I think that's what a lot of people try to get to with like the Black Lives Matter movement and their feelings about that. We see that people are like, oh, well, cops obviously aren't out to just kill black people. And that may be the case, but those preconceived notions, those personal held beliefs backed by the institution of police, the institution of police, as well as just like the history of this culture that just demeans black and brown people. We see that reinforces what racism really is. So when we get an understanding of that, we can actually start moving forward in these discussions. I think we're wasting so much time talking about racism, but not really understanding what it is, so we can never move from square one to square two, because we're arguing about what racism is. So once we get that definition, we can move forward. And just some type of microaggressions. For me personally, I'm called the wrong name often, whether it be at work, whether it be just on the street. Someone just mistakes me for someone else, and they'll call me by someone else's name. But this happens at my place of work too. There are 2 other black supervisors, and they often mix us up. They call me Julius or Sam, and this happens so often. And it may sound petty at the surface, but once you start really looking at it in depth, you see that there's not too many people that this is happening to. Like, the 3 people that this is happening to have something in common, and it's not that we all wear glasses or we all have earrings. It's that skin color. It's, y'all can't get our names right, but y'all can get everyone else's name right. There's something about that, and we have to take a deeper look at that. Yeah, so it's just things like being told that you can't tell the difference, or someone can't tell the difference